Hey everyone, welcome back with Mac, where today we're going to continue our playthrough of Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, playing as Smoke, who is obviously never meant to be playable in this game. He's just an NPC that just stands there. But you know, with GameShark hacks and patch codes and stuff like that, that I also, put in the description down below for you guys to check out, as well as other video guides and stuff like that from other creators that have helped me figure out how to play as other characters you're not supposed to play as and stuff like that, and move hack codes and all sorts of stuff. We can now play as Smoke, and as you can see, we're actually playing as Smoke, but we're using Johnny Cage's moveset here. But either way, you know, we took someone completely unplayable, took their model pretty easily, and now it's a full-on a full-on playthrough. I mean, that's all really we can say. We're almost done, actually. We got this level, which starts off in the Deadpool, and then we have the Netherrealm. And I usually just kind of keep like this is technically like the tail end of like the Wastelands episode, but that's already a pretty decently long level in general. And plus, you know, like the Netherrealm is a very, very, very short level. It's pretty much just one massive boss battle. So I figured, why not? I don't know, it's pretty cool that they have the Deadpool, although, I don't know, I've kind of gushed about this game a lot and stuff like that, and it's still really awesome that we have one. It's a very well recreated area as well for this space. I think my only complaint with it, though, is that it's just kind of like out of nowhere. I don't know, I mean, I just feel like, this is kind of like the Outworld torture chamber and stuff like that. I feel like they could have, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was planned to be like the 7th level or something like that in this game, and they decided that the Netherrealm would be better overall. I don't know. Like I said, it's really well recreated and stuff like that. And just once again, awesome to see, you know, the original design in a 3D space like this. But I don't know, you just kind of hope for like probably the most iconic stage in the second game, really, when you think about it. You just kind of hope for like a full-on level to explore it and see what's going on with the war in it and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, oh well. Still pretty cool to see. But the Netherrealm is still cool to have in here, because obviously we're going to face Scorpion. This was still around the time he was still kind of like always like a little bit of an anti-hero, but like it still felt like he was more villainous at times, like he could fulfill that villain role, whereas nowadays I just don't think they could get away with that. Like, I think a lot of people would probably, if they made like another Shaolin Monks game, they'd probably be pretty pissed off if like Scorpion wasn't a part of like, you know, a good guy in the main story or something like that, or somebody that you had to kill off.
I thought only evil or tainted souls could enter this one. What do you think has happened to your souls every time you have killed while...
And the Netherrealm is infinite in size, but it's kind of cool that we do have like I think this is the only like Mortal Kombat 3 stage that ended up being a part of this game and stuff like that. I think the only other reference to MK3 is like obviously when you die, like you see like random like messages and stuff like that, and one of them is just references Shiva. I don't really understand what's supposed to be. It just says her name like Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. I think some people look at it and they reference,
Who's that?
you know, like somebody's having an orgasm or like having sex with her, which I think is just a bit much. I hope that's not the case. But like others, I always look at it and I'm thinking like maybe she was dying or something like that and somebody was calling out her name. I don't know. But I think the only other actual reference to any MK3 characters is this is the first game we get to see Cabal without his mask on and without him looking like some sort of possessed demon or something like that.
Scorpion is still here, but I will not
And yeah, that Noob Saibot model we just seen, I'm hoping to do a playthrough with him as well.
Shang Tsung. He is trying to keep us from getting the key to save Earth.
Do not worry. He does not serve Shang Tsung. He is possessed by one of the Elder Gods. There is more here than just Shang Tsung's attempt to invade Earthrealm. The gods are involved.
How do you know Noob Saibot is not part of this?
Because I think he is...
I love that goofy little zoom in that he does every single time. Well, because he's my
Netherrealm is infinite in size,
brother.
But Scorpion will find you if you are here in this realm.
If your brother is possessed, how can you help him? He will most likely try to kill you again.
I don't know. The one issue that I do have with this level is it's all one room. So pretty much every time you restart it, you don't have to do the opening cutscene again, but every time you come across this path, you have to, you know, go through the whole fight again, and it's one long fight, and you have to check out the cutscene again. You can skip it, but it's still a pain in the butt that you have to, you know, go through all that kind of stuff. And I actually ended up dying the first time I did this, because after the cutscene, for whatever reason, I just spawned underneath the ground or whatever. So I was actually worried that that was going to be the end of the playthrough there, like something was going to happen with like the smoke model, which it just kept like glitching out, but thankfully it was just the one time, and we're now able to play. And I figured I'd change my character back to Scorpion for it. I guess he doesn't want to take a swing on a peaceful enemy. Or maybe he's afraid of what I'm capable of. Yeah, unfortunately, I guess it's just a glitch. Whenever anybody plays, it's like a Scorpion moveset, like parts of their model just disappear for some reason. I don't know what the deal with that is, but what are you gonna do? But I guess Sub-Zero did warn me. He did say, you know, Scorpion wants to kill you as well. I don't know what the deal with that was. Man, it's kind of cheap. I kind of forgot. Like, I don't remember him. Kind of forgot that he kind of just like takes blows like that. You know, he definitely has a lot of invincibility frames, but I'm sure it's a lot less to deal with when you're doing it with a co-op partner or something like that. But this is practically like a mirror match at this point. Goodness. Uh-oh. Alright, I don't think I got hit in that. Alright, come on. How did he block that from behind? I probably should be a little more careful now that I think about it with those teleport punches, because I think the last time I did that, I ended up like on the other side of like Goro's lair or something like that. Alright, now we got phase 2. I don't know, I kind of am a little torn on this level, to be honest, at times, because like it is cool that it's one big boss fight, but at the same time, you got the Netherrealm, which is supposed to be infinite in size, and it kind of feels like, I don't know, it feels like this is, of all the levels, this one is the one that was kind of rushed, and all they got is like the bloody skeletons and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, at least there was like, you know, the cutscenes with Noob and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, technically, I guess, I don't know what time it would have taken place in. I'm assuming it would have been directly after, you know, Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. But there was supposed to be, you know, MK Fire and Ice. And, you know, obviously we kill Scorpion here, but you know, I guess he wasn't originally going to end up dead, which makes sense because he's already dead, but you know, him and Sub-Zero would have teamed up, and I think to take on Quan Chi and stuff like that. Such a shame. Would have been so awesome. But it's not the only beat 'em up game that could have had a really cool sequel that we ended up getting canceled. I'm a huge fan of the Warriors from Rockstar Games. And I think after that one, I forget what it was called. It was gonna be like a game based off of like, I think gangs in Britain in like the 60s or something like that. They didn't really get off the ground at all, really, but it was just kind of like a, I think at most just like a concept that was made at that point, and but it still would have been cool to just have like essentially a spiritual successor to the Warriors. I think it would have been on just kind of like Fire and Ice. I think it would have been on like the 360 and stuff like that. But what are you gonna do? I don't know. I guess I'm at least happy to have like the original games. It's just, you know, I think it really goes to show like the jump from, you know, PS2 to PS3 and stuff like that. It kind of just had like an unfortunate effect on the industry as a whole, in which games had to, you know, a much more bigger budget and stuff like that. And a lot of people, they say, you know, oh man, you know, who cares about the licensed games, or who cares about, you know, it just means there's less trash on there. No, I mean, if you see the Switch, I think that's obviously not the case. I mean, I think there was even on the Switch, there was a game that got taken down eventually, but it was up there for like a few days, where I think it was literally just called like Don't Get Caught or whatever. And it was literally just in the backseat of a car with like, I think a dog or something in there, and like a guy in the front seat or something, and you just have to like literally like jack off in the car. And they sold that on the eShop with no issue. I mean, it just kind of showed like that, hey, I mean, any game could be pretty much made and it could be trash. Is, you know, that's why they call it shovelware. But also, just on top of that, it just showed that like Nintendo was not really paying attention to what was actually being put on the eShop. But I don't know. I think it also is good though, because I think around this time there was a lot of stuff. You know, there's always going to be bad games and stuff like that, but I feel as though you know, there was a lot more variety and titles, and there was more experimentation. Like, this was kind of like the perfect time to have multiple, you know, to experiment and try out new things in series, and, you know, get annual releases and all that sort of stuff when it wasn't, you know, broken, buggy messes and stuff like that. I think the PS3 era was the last one where it kind of worked out for the wrestling games anyway. I don't really play sports titles or anything like that, so, you know, I can't really speak to you know, what the other franchises were like. But I think even the like NFL Madden stuff, I think that was starting to really get broken around the 360 era. Alright, and that's now that I remember, I actually looked it up. The sequel that was supposed to be like the direct sequel to the Warriors game by Rockstar Games was supposed to be We Are the Mods. It was you know, planned, and yeah, it would have been, I think, like, you know, Britain's 60 you know, gangs and stuff like that, which, you know, I know nothing about, so being able to play is something and kind of in a weird way learn a little bit about history. Like, obviously it wouldn't have been like some crazy accurate documentary type thing, but, you know, I don't really care to learn about what the mods are, but like, it would have been cool to see, you know, get an idea of what they were supposed to be and what they were back in the day and stuff, and maybe get a little bit of accurate history and stuff from that game. But man, Inferno Scorpion, that's such a cool design too. I don't really understand. You would think that like that would be like the player 2 costume or something like that for Scorpion in versus mode or something like that. Because at the end of the day, it is just like essentially a model. I remember as a kid, I was stuck on this fight with my stepdad for what felt like forever, because it was just such a long fight. I mean, like I said, back in the day as a kid, I mean, I was just too stupid to even listen. You know, I never blocked or anything like that. And when I did, it was like a new revolutionary thing. Like, whoa, I can not take damage? That's awesome. You know, it was like a new experience for me. So that's why I always had like a tough time freaking taking on those mass guards, despite the fact it was the simplest thing possible. But even when I was like playing with my buddy and stuff like that, I don't know, he just, it's a weird because he's like one of the smartest guys I know and all this other stuff, and he's got patience and very, you know, a lot of things I have zero patience for. But when it comes to certain games, especially like just playing like a game or something like that with me or whatever, he just has like practically like zero patience for anything, and doesn't really even care to like listen much or anything like that. So like when it's just tell him, you know, you just gotta block against the mass guards, he's like, what? Where does it say to do that? First time we fought it, it's like it literally tells you right at the beginning of the thing. And there's the Terminator 2 reference. I remember that was such a big deal back in the day. Like I said, it seemed like they had a lot more fun making these games back in the day, rather than some kind of quota or whatever. It also kind of, it's just like an OCD thing that I have. It also kind of bothers me that like once you beat Scorpion, you get this like token and stuff like that, and obviously it's meant to represent like that big gate and stuff like that. But it always bothered me that you didn't get the there was no ability you got from it, especially when they could have done it a few times. It also makes me wonder, like, see, I feel like it just would have made sense if like they just had it in the Deadpool, like that's where the double jump was, but it was like a bonus secret area you could go to or something like that, rather than something that was necessary. But I don't know. I mean, it does allow you to have to go to backtrack to different areas, so that way you can come on, get up there, man. There we go. I just had a wall run. But it does allow you to kind of have to go back to previous areas and backtrack and get extra boss fights and, you know, the secrets, you know, those red orbs and stuff like that to unlock production art and fatality images and, you know, the 4 videos that there are in the game and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't know, Ermac, Melina, and Kano, I'm probably going to skip all those fights for this playthrough, but that's about it, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out next week's episode on Friday, the finale. But above all else, please remember to have a nice day.